Hi guys, hi, how's it going? How y'all doing today? Hopefully today finds you well. Today I am doing my haul in retrospect for the month of November, going over the products I hauled in last November and telling you my thoughts, my opinions, and I mean, really, even if I've used them and it's been a year. So I hope that sounds like something you're interested in. I kind of like doing these just to kind of monitor my beauty purchases. I know Haley O has something like this going on her channel. I also know Kat does these. I know a lot of creators that do these kind of videos as well. I initially took inspiration from Lauren May Beauty, who does haul in retrospect, or did way back in the day. And I'm doing it because of my friend JC. Just said one day, like, you never tell us how you feel about the products after you've used them. So here we are. Here's what we're doing. So I've been doing this for a while. You guys seem to enjoy it. And I hope that if you're new here, you enjoy it too. So for those of you new here, hi, my name is Donna. I'm a lover of all things high and colorful beauty and self-care. And this truly is my self-care. I love coming to you, talking to you about all the things beauty that come in and out of my life, giving you my humble opinions, doing reviews, project pans, and all the things. So I hope that you find that this channel brings you joy as much as it brings me joy, and you'll want to subscribe before you go. And with that said, let's roll into this haul in retrospect, going over everything I purchased and brought into my collection in November of last year through my makeup rehab series, and tell you my thoughts. All right. Spent the morning kind of watching some of my friends. It is super early in the morning. Like, I am not an early riser, but I've got stuff to do. Retail work environment is crazy and hectic and, man, crazy. So there's that. I've got a lot of products to go over. My makeup rehab in November is actually going over the products that I purchased or brought in October, but I've been kind of keeping up with these November over November of the previous year makeup rehab haul in retrospect. So that's how we're doing this today. This will be no different. That said, these were products that I actually purchased in October and brought into my collection as of the November makeup rehab. In this makeup rehab, there was a ton of gratis. So we have holiday meetings every single year, and in those holiday meetings, we get a lot of gratis because our brand partners come in and give us education on certain products. They want us to be in the know of the things that they're bringing in. So I did get a ton of skincare and gratis. I also got some of the benefit usuals, you know, mascaras. I got a couple of primers. I got a blush. I got some IT Cosmetics eye sticks. I got some Bobbi Brown eye sticks. I got a Tula Gold eye balm, those kind of things. I'm not going over gratis with you today. What I typically do in these haul in retrospects is mention the gratis, but really talk to you about what I have spent my money on and whether it was worth it to me at the end of the day. So today we're going to be going over everything that I hauled in that makeup rehab that I spent money on or brought into my collection willingly. And we're going to start with Melt. So last year at this time, Melt came out with 2 different holiday releases for October, Halloween / December, Christmas, and it all came within 3 weeks of each other. And I remember being kind of miffed about that whole process because I felt like it was kind of a cash grab because they came out with the Halloweentown and then 3 weeks later they came out with Christmastown. And I was kind of twisted about it because I am a huge fan of Nightmare Before Christmas. I think that it is a wonderful story about diversity and inclusion. And I think also that it is just fun. It's a fun story. I have stickers for my planners that are Nightmare Before Christmas. I have painted paintings of Nightmare Before Christmas, like owls that are in Jack and Sally. And I think I went over all this in that video as well. But like, I am a huge Nightmare Before Christmas fan. So when they launched Halloweentown, I was like, I have to have it. So they launched a whole bundle, and it was this makeup bag, which is Jack on one side, Sally on the other. And then when you open it up, it had like a really decent amount of size inside of it, and it had Jack all over it, and, you know, Zero and Lock, Shock, and Barrel, and all the players, right? I think I've used this makeup bag one time. I don't really love it. It's not got enough room in it, in my humble opinion, but I love it because of the fact that it's Nightmare Before Christmas. So it's not going anywhere. This was the palette that was inside of it. This is the Melt Cosmetics Halloweentown. It's got Oogie Boogie on the front, and I have done a dedicated review video on this palette. It is a really great palette. I really do like this palette. I think that there are some really great shadows in here. I love the colors. It kind of matches my hair right now. I did get some really great use out of this palette. It doesn't look like it. You know, Melt Cosmetics shadows are really, really firmly pressed, so it doesn't even look like I've touched this palette, but I used it for a full 3 weeks for my review. I love this palette. Super glad that I purchased this collaboration, if for no other reason but for this palette. In addition to that, it came with 2 eyeliners. I have the Master of Fright and the Terrible Visions. This one is Terrible Vision. It is orange. I do think I have used this maybe twice. I think it's a beautiful orange, kind of like a burnt orange, almost like terracotta color for an eyeliner. This one I haven't used at all. It is in metallic burnt orange. So maybe this wasn't, you know, the best to come in this box, but you have to close these really, really tight because otherwise they will dry out. But it was part of the set. I'm not unhappy to have them. And I really do like this burnt orange, like kind of terracotta one. I'm really into a colorful liner, so it has a place in my collection. In addition to that, it came with 2 lipsticks. These, it was dumb of me to pick up this set because I just don't wear lipsticks, and I knew that these weren't going to see any kind of action. These are the 2 colors that we have. Orange does not look good on me with my skin tone, and this color is just a little bit too dark. However, I mean, I guess I could try them. Maybe I'll bring them into my next Shop My Stash because they are a year old now at this point, right? And I haven't even tried them, but the biggest reason why is because they're kind of scary colors to me. This one, the darker one, is in the shade Lock, Shock, and Barrel. And then the orange one is in the shade Pumpkin King. I think that they're beautiful, but also Melt matte lipsticks, which is what I think these are not my favorite. I feel like they're really, really drying on my lips. Matte lipsticks in and of themselves are not my favorite, but I think that Melt matte lipsticks are really, really ultra matte. And these are the ultra matte. I'm gonna have to really be kind to my lips, make sure that I prep them really well in order for these to look good on me. But I'm just not a lipstick wearer in and of itself, truth be told. It also came with a mirror that I use all the time. You guys probably see me utilizing this mirror, and it came with a highlight. So this is the True Love Never Dies highlight. I have used this. I know that it does not look like I have used this, but I have. I'm just really dainty about it because look at the imprint. Like, you cannot, with this imprint, mess it up, but it is a truly beautiful, like, kind of duochrome gold to peachy shift to this. And again, like, I just stuck my finger in that. You can't hardly tell. I just don't want to mess up the imprint. I have a highlighter from their Muerte and Vita collection as well that is the same way. It's got a sugar skull on the imprint. I love the highlighter, but I'm very dainty with it because I don't want to mess up the imprint. So of this set of things that came in this bundle that cost me somewhere around $300, if I'm honest with you, I think it was like, maybe it was $175. I cannot remember, but I have only used 3 of the 6 items, unless you count the bag and the mirror, at which point I have used 5 of the 8 items. So, I mean, was it a smart purchase? Maybe, maybe not. 3 weeks later, they came out with the Christmastown collection. And I did purchase the Christmastown palette, which I showcased in that video as well, but then promptly dropped it and ended up tossing it in the garbage, so I didn't have it. And I also at that time purchased the glitter eye gel in the shade Making Christmas. I dropped the palette. I couldn't return it, or maybe I could return it but didn't return it in a prompt way. Something happened. Anyways, it ended up going into the garbage. And the glitter eye gel that I received came to me completely dried up, and I didn't really realize it. There was enough of it on the lid that I could swatch it and put it on my hand and swatch it for you guys, and it showed up really, really nicely. But as I'm looking back at the video, you can see that there was hardly anything in the component because it was just all dried up in that component. So that wasn't a great purchase. But then a friend of mine and I went to dinner, and she purchased the Christmastown palette for me, knowing full well that this is something that I wanted. And I am so excited that it came back into my life because I love this palette. Again, this does have a full review on my channel. I think it is a review with the Halloweentown palette, but I'm really excited to have both palettes. I think that they speak really well with each other, and I couldn't imagine having one and not the other. What I will say is that I do think that a lot of the shades with both of the palettes are kind of interchangeable. Like, you can see a little bit of both in both of the palettes, even though there is a lot of differences in both of the palettes as well. So of the two, this one is my favorite. So I'm really glad to have this one. Really glad that my friend Angela picked it up for me, and really glad to have received it as a gift. But the reason why I put it into this video, even though it was a gift, is because initially I had purchased it for myself. The purchase for myself was a smart purchase. This is my favorite of the two palettes, but the fact that I dropped it, I mean, that's not a smart nor bad purchasing decision, right? That was a clumsiness thing that I am so sad about. I was really happy to get this from Angela as a gift. This was a stupid purchase. So this came to me dried up the first time, and then I went and purchased it again just to get it back in my collection. And if I'm honest with you, it is beautiful. It truly is beautiful, but I don't love it. I hate using it on my eyes. I think it's really crispy, kind of like sandpapery to the touch. And it also has, this one is almost dried up, and this one was the new one, and I closed them really tightly. Like, there's no reason why it should be drying up like that. But I will never buy another Melt Cosmetics glitter eye gel because I ended up buying this one again, which is this one, and Zero at the same time, which was also part of the collection, but like the gold glitter eye gel. And I hate them both. I hate them so much. I don't like using them on my eyes at all. They hurt to actually remove from your eyes because they are straight up glitter. And I knew that. It says it. It says it. It's a glitter eye gel. This was not a great purchase. And these were, I think, $25 when I purchased it the first time. And then the second time I purchased, which is this one here, and when I purchased Zero, they were $12.50 a piece because they were half off. So not a smart decision that was in purchasing. So then I also purchased a new Huda palette that was on the market for that holiday season, which was the Huda Pretty Grunge. This is quite possibly, I mean, this ended up being, I think, a palette that I reviewed this year, and I love this palette so dang much. I love this palette so dang much. I think I utilized it with the, maybe I reviewed it last year, right after I purchased it. I can't remember, but I think I reviewed it with the Chucky and Tiff Madly in Love, or Crazy in Love palette, because that one leaned a little bit more red and this one leans a little bit more brown, and I thought that they would play well together, and they truly do. This is my favorite Huda Beauty palette, hands down. What I love most about this palette is that there aren't any like weird shadows in here, like no like jelly with the crazy like what looks like mold drops in it, whatever it is. There's none of that in here. And this glitter is actually not fantastic, but it isn't a bad glitter compared to some of the loose glitters that she has in some of her palettes. And it's part of the reason why I didn't buy this year's palette, even though it is the last one that she will ever have. It's got a really awful glitter that I know I will never use in that palette, and everything about this palette I've used and I love. So I think that that was a great purchase. And again, I have a review on this palette as well. Those were the only palettes that I purchased. I do have several other items. So I purchased one foundation, and that happened to be the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Serum Skin Tint. And this, like, honestly, I do have mine in the shade 4, and I honestly do think that this is a beautiful skin tint, but it is just that. So I'm used to a little bit more coverage from my skin tints, if I'm honest with you. I do love that it's not like super watery. It's not got like a really viscous nature to it, so it does feel a little bit more girthy. And when you put it on, you can definitely see like your skin underneath it. So it really is just a beautiful like complexion solidifier. I don't know if that would even be the right verbiage for that, but it really takes your complexion that might be like blotchy or, you know, patches of redness or whatever it is, and creates a clean canvas for you to put anything else over the top of. I like using it on its own because I am a medium at most kind of foundation wearer. I do love skin tints. I do love really lightweight, really beautiful sheer coverage foundations, but it is also a foundation that I love wearing as a primer underneath maybe something a little bit more mattifying, because it creates a beautiful like natural finish to that matte foundation, which surprisingly I have a lot of in my collection because I get a lot in gratis. So I really do love this foundation for not only the skin tint aspect of it, for, you know, smoothing, correcting, hydrating, just really being a clean canvas kind of product for me, but also as a primer to go under some of my more troubling foundations to create a better finish for that foundation, in my humble opinion. I really like that foundation. I'm really happy to have it. It hasn't seen a whole lot of use for me, but I do have so many foundations, and this is one of the newer ones in my collection, even though it's a year old, right? I don't think that it has any kind of SPF in it, or it would have an expiry date on it, which it doesn't have. I mean, it does say that it has a 24-month shelf life, but I mean, come on. So I did pick up a couple of bronzers. I actually picked up several. So I have the Rare Beauty Cream Bronzing Stick, and mine is in the shade Bright Side. And this is quite possibly my favorite bronzing stick in my collection. I have had the Makeup by Mario one. I have an AB, or not an ABH, a Fenty one. I have had an ABH one, I guess. I have the Wands by Charlotte Tilbury. I really like this. It is the perfect contour stick for my skin tone, and it is just so creamy. It blends so perfectly. It's a really nice shape. It's a really beautiful color. I really quite like it. It has a little bit of warmth to it, but not so warm that it turns my skin orange, which I find happens with a lot of my bronzing sticks. So I really just truly, truly love this bronzer, and it is so easy to use. I also have this cream bronzer, which is the Rose Inc cream bronzer, and it is in the shade Kawaii. And I had heard some really great things about Rose Inc as a brand, so I decided to take the leap and try a couple of Rose Inc products last year at this time, and I'm not certain I love this. As you can see, it is quite orange, and I don't love an orange bronzer on me. It's just way too orange for me. It's not my favorite, and I should probably declutter this. I think that this would be a good shade for my sister, who has a little bit deeper complexion than I do. I mean, she's still kind of fair, but she leans a little bit more warm, and this might look better on her skin tone than it does on mine, for sure, who has a little bit more of an olive undertone. So I need to declutter that. I do. It's just too, it's too orange. When this here is like my perfect shade, this, you gotta know I'm not gonna like it. I wish I would have picked up a different shade, because I do like the formulation of it. I think it's really good and pigmented and creamy and blends out well. I think that you can work it in with a brush. I think that you can work it in with your fingers or with a sponge. I just don't love the shade. So another shade might have been a better choice. The last bronzer that I picked up was this One Size Made for Shade Trio. It's the medium shade tones, the medium trio. It has Legacy Honey, Masterpiece, and Don't Try It. I do partially like this. I don't love this shade. Again, I mean, you can see it's just super orange. I do like this shade as a powder bronzer over the top of a more creamy bronzer that is more of like this tone, so it warms it up just a little bit more than like creating that like contour. So this is pretty, but I like mixing it with this one that is more of like a contour shade, in my humble opinion, so that they come across more bronzy and less orange. So that is what they look like together, and you can see it is definitely more bronzy than orange. So this one doesn't see a whole lot of use from me since trying it. I don't necessarily think that this is a product that I'm sad I picked up. It was a worthless product to pick up, but I do think that it is a product that I probably could have lived without. It was a product that I had wanted to try, and ultimately I think I was only drawn to these because of the product like this that comes in the blush trios. And for whatever reason, I opted to pick up a bronzer trio instead of a blush trio because I wanted to try the product, but I had way too many blushes, and I think I had hit my max of blushes last year at this time that I allowed myself to purchase. So I purchased the bronzer. Stupid reason to purchase the bronzer, let's be honest, but I mean, ultimately I'm not unhappy I have it. I will use 2 out of the 3 powders, but I did not need it in my collection because I think I have bronzers I prefer. I definitely know I have bronzers I prefer over that one, and will likely not pull that one ever unless it's for like a 10 uses or a project pan item, or maybe even a shop my stash, because I know I haven't used it in a while. I did get 2 blushes that I purchased. I purchased Rare Beauty Hope in a mini. I'm so proud of myself for purchasing this in a mini. This actually is a really beautiful blush. It is a blush that has like kind of this like almost muted pink look to it, and it goes really, really well with like any kind of like neutral eye look. I love these Rare Beauty blushes on the skin. They're just so natural and go on super well, and truly a little dab will do you. And with these blushes, I have a full size Rare Beauty blush like this, and I have this mini, and I think that you will never need more than this mini. Even if it's the only blush that you have in your collection, this is still going to take, because it doesn't take very much to get what you need. This is still going to last you years. So I love these minis. I would pick up more of these minis. It's just such a beautiful blush. And once it's on and blended out, it literally goes nowhere, and it doesn't get patchy. It goes over powder really well. It's just a beautiful formula. I also picked up this blush, which was actually part of a set, a little holiday set. This is a full size lip and cheek color by Rose Ink, and this is in the shade Heliotrope. One thing that I love about this is these components, they come out and you can put like anything else in here. There's like two little punch holes on the back so that you can punch a pin through them, and you can pull this out and you can put like literally anything. I love that it has a mirror. These both are kind of like toilet bowl shaped, which is kind of funny, but it helps them sit really nicely in my makeup inventory because they're not round, so they're not going to roll around everywhere. I really love this blush. Now, as a stark contrast to the bronzer that I got from them, this blush is probably one of my favorites, honestly, of the year. And you can see that these two shades are very, very similar. And their formulation is quite different though. This is a cream blush that you have to warm up with your fingers. You can use a brush with it and you can use a sponge with it, but it really does work better with your finger. Tap it on, blend it out with your sponge or whatnot. And then this one, of course, is a liquid. So definitely different formulation and a slight variance of color, but mostly almost same color. But both of these blushes are beautiful and I'm really happy to have them in my collection. With that rose ink blush was also a lipstick. Now this lipstick I haven't used. I do think I've gotten enough use out of the blush to make the purchase worth it though, but this lipstick has not been used. That said, it is a beautiful color. It is in the shade Enigmatic. This is a really beautiful lipstick. I need to pull it in and use it, but again, like the melt ones, like I'm just not a lipstick wearer. Like what's on my lips today is a lip liner and a gloss. That is what I've always worn. That is what I feel like lipstick is so uncomfortable. This one is a satin lip color, so it might feel better than some of the matte formulas do. But I steer away from lipstick so much. Like it's a product in my collection I really don't need to have any of, but I have several. I have a ton. I need to pull this in and get some use out of it because it is a beautiful lipstick. But I do think like that purchase could be slated as worth it because I have used this blush so many times and this blush is beautiful and it's one of my favorite cream blushes that I have in my collection. It came with that lipstick, but at the end of the day, it's another product I picked up that I haven't used. I also just can't believe that I'm saying this right now, but this Summer Fridays lip butter balm is something that I picked up this time last year and it is the exact same one. And I don't know that I realized that this has been in my collection for a year at this point. I carry it around with me everywhere. So I cannot for the life of me fathom why I still have so much of this product in my collection. But this one is in the shade of Vanilla Beige and it is really, really comfortable. I do love this lip butter balm and I did talk my sister into purchasing a couple of these actually on her own because her lips were super dry one day at a vintage show that we were at, and I had her try it on. She loved it, so she kept asking me what it was, so I told her to purchase them. I do love this product. I can't for the life of me fathom why I still have this almost full in my collection a year later because I do carry it around with me everywhere. That said, I also think that part of the reason why is because I have, I do Project Pan also, and I have this, lip treatment open, and I have another Laneige lip treatment open down by my desk, and I have two actual lip glosses in my purse as well as this. So like, I mean, it just gets lost in the shuffle of all the things. So there's that, but it still smells good. It still feels good. I just wore it the other day. Like I'm still using this. I still love it. You just don't use a whole lot and there's a ton of product in here. So I think bang for your buck, that's a really great lip butter balm to purchase. A really great lip balm to purchase because you're going to have enough and it's going to last you for quite some time. And again, it's been a year. It's still going strong in my collection and it's still good. It's still good. I also got two highlighters at that time. And I have to be honest, bringing 3 highlighters in this month last year was the absolute most ridiculous thing ever because I'm not even wearing highlighter anymore right now. Like I'm struggling to remember to put a highlighter on my skin right now. And I used to wear highlighter like a crazy person, but I just don't anymore. That said, these are very pretty. So I have, these are both Rare Beauty. I have the Liquid Luminizer in Enlighten, and I have the, what is this called? Just powder highlighter, soft touch, silky touch powder highlighter in Mesmerize. So this one obviously is white. I do think that this was probably a dumb purchase on my part because the tiniest, I literally took this out and dabbed it, just dab on my skin. The tiniest bit goes a very long way. It's so stark white too. You definitely don't need this much of this highlighter. Again, this is like the perfect size for Rare Beauty liquid products. I think this will likely be passed down to my grandkids. It's just too much. This was like not a great purchase because I'm not ever going to go through this, and I don't use highlighter enough to make sense of spending the money on this product. Do I like it? Yes. Is it beautiful? Absolutely. If you're going to wear that every single day, if it's going to be the only highlighter that you have in your collection, that might be a smart purchase for you, but it's just not in my collection. Therefore, it's just not a smart purchase for me. I needed to think that through a little bit, just a smidge. This one, again, maybe not a smart decision to make because I'm just not wearing highlighter that often. But when I do choose a highlighter to wear, I do like a pinky highlighter. That said, this isn't my favorite pinky highlighter because I also really like kind of a more subtle highlight. And that is not really a subtle highlight. Like this is like truly see me from the moon. And I'm almost 50. I'm 48 years old. I do not need a highlight like this on my cheeks. Like I like it for inner corner, but this is going to last me 400 years as an inner corner highlight. So I am going to put this in the yes, really great purchasing decision because this is a highlight that I love that is going to last me for a very long time. It's a beautiful formulation. It goes onto the skin and doesn't like really exacerbate any texture. It's a really beautiful like blush topper as well. I kind of put it over the top of this blush. Like it's just so pretty. I guess it can be sheared out, but it's still going to be like a stark see me from the moon kind of highlight. And that's just not what I'm into right now. But you know, trends come around. I will likely be into that again one day. So for now, it's going to go into, yeah, it was a smart decision because I like it and I wear it because I do like it and I have worn it. It's just also like maybe for time and place, it wasn't smart for me to pick up so many dang highlights and then not really wear highlights. But who knew at that point in time that I wasn't in 2024 going to be wearing a whole lot of highlights. So there's that. So of the products I picked up, all three of these palettes, I'm really happy to have and own. So really smart. And those were the most expensive of the purchases, right? So really happy to have those in my collection. As far as the Nightmare Before Christmas like box that I purchased, that was the most expensive purchase I had in that month. Like I've used all but 3 of the products in that, and that's okay. Like I love the bag. It's not very big, but the highlighter, the one eyeliner I've used quite a bit. The makeup mirror I've used quite a bit. I do think that that was a smart decision. I only have a handful of products that I think were not smart decision making, but only 3 of these things were separate purchases. And one was because it came not able to be used when I purchased it. So that's more on the brand than I think it is on me. For this purchase, when I repurchased that at $12.50 and then realized I hated it, that's on me. But for the intents and purposes of this, these were separate purchases, so these would have been poor decisions that I made in purchasing. Nobody needs a liquid highlighter this big. I have an even bigger one from Becca that's still in my collection, that's been in my collection for easily 5 years. that I've worn like twice. No, I should, lessons to learn here. This was just a color, right? A preference in the tone that it was going on my skin. The rest of these that I haven't used all came as part of a set. So, and part of a set with another product that I absolutely enjoy using. So these three things are the three items out of the Nightmare Before Christmas set that I haven't used at all. This will get used. This like gel tech eyeliner that is kind of metallic, this will get used. These two lipsticks, not super sure about. And the eyeliners last quite some time. I still have some KVD gel eyeliners in my collection that I've had for eons that are perfectly fine to use on my eyes. I've never had a reaction from them, and they're still really creamy in the pot. This is a lipstick that came with a blush that I use all the time. So I'm not necessarily mad about the purchases or about the products that I don't 100% love or have not used in my collection, except for maybe these two things, because this is not a cheap bronzer and this is not a cheap highlighter. So I definitely learned a lesson with those things. The rest of it I really love. Like, I loved everything else from the Nightmare Before Christmas collection. This is a really beautiful foundation in my collection. I'm actually, you know, I use this like weekly, if not daily. So I know that this is a product that I really love a lot. Like, I feel like a lot of the rest of these things made their counterparts of this purchasing decisions in November last year, you know, that went into this makeup rehab worth it. I mean, ultimately, there's only two items here that I probably shouldn't have purchased. So what did you buy last year that you regret purchasing? Think this time last year, what did you bring in that you don't love or that you love so dang much and you're so happy that you purchased? I would love to hear from you down in the comments section, so don't forget to hit your girl up. Thank you so much for watching this video today. I hope that you and yours are well. I hope that you are all safe and healthy and getting along as best that you can. For those of you that are celebrating Thanksgiving tomorrow, I hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Spend a lot of time with your family and eat a lot of grub, because I'm going to be eating a lot of sweet potatoes because I love sweet potatoes, and stuffing because I love stuffing. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that you and yours are well. Please be safe. Please be kind. Please love each other. Please live your best life. And until next time, bye friends.